Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma.
I just wanted to be sure that everyone, Kayode said, my name is Bincom Dev Center. Apologies. I just had a technical issue with my system. I'm trying to bring up my slide.
I think Mrs. Olayinka is having some technical issues from her end also. So if Mr. Kayode Adesemowo is online, we can have either of you. Anybody that is ready to make his presentation is allowed.
Good afternoon. I'm just managing to connect. I'm not so sure if I'm really on. It seems it's a day of technical problem anyway.
Sir, just go. You can go ahead, sir. We can hear you clearly, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Just give me a moment. I think it's this one. Sorry, I'll be with you in a second. All right, good afternoon. Not sure if Just want to be sure my screen is up at this moment.
Sir, your screen is yet to be up, sir.
Yeah, I guess as much as a problem. Okay, let's try one more time. It's showing from my side that the screen should be up.
So there's a screen logo showing, but your your screen is yet to show.
I'm having problem with. Okay, let me just try one more time. The screen. I'll share your screen. Hello, can we just confirm the screen is up?
No, sir, it's yet to be up, sir.
It's up, yes.
Sorry, if you can see screen, please indicate, please. Let me see how many people can see screen.
My camera doesn't seem to work, so I'm doing a screen, so I'm moving around. So
Please, once again, if you can see his screen, please indicate. Let's know how many people can see the screen. Okay, I can see some hands up. Mr. Adenu, you would like. Okay, just in case you can see screen, please just go to the section and just indicate that you can see screen. Yeah.
good afternoon, moderator. I'm waiting for confirmation.
Sir, some people are yet to see your screen. Even on my end, I can't see your screen yet.
Because the other challenge is I'm not so sure which of my screen is showing. It's not even coming up on my side. Okay, let me try and switch to.
We can see the screen, yes, sir. Technology enhanced learning series.
So, sir, I think you can start now for those that can see it.
Okay, let's try. Okay, let's use this screen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kayode, and the surname is Adesemowo. I know the mics are muted, but can I just get a confirmation at this stage before I proceed? The voice is not too low, and the screen is up one more time. Last check.
So not many people can see a screen, but you can still go ahead.
Okay, since everybody can hear me now, that's fine. Thank you. All right, so my understanding is we're looking at remote learning, but of course it seems as if the focus might probably be on technology. Please note, I've got a challenge. We've got what is called a load shedding, which of course it's what we used to call up NEPA. So I don't know how long I will last, but I will see how far I can go. But I have to move around and switch batteries if things goes off. That's what I can do, and that's what I will do. But while we're still up and we're on right now, so the question for me is to ask, what is remote learning, or what is the understanding of remote learning? I know I'm here to facilitate, but I would like to ask, and the moderator can handle that for me in the next 1 minute. Anyone that wants to take a shot, what is remote learning, or what do you think remote learning is about?
So anybody with ideas on remote learning can indicate.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, my own understanding of remote learning is learning without being physically present where the teaching is actually taking place.
Physically present where the teaching is actually taking place.
Yes.
I don't have an objection to that, do I? Not at all. And I fully concur with that. So the only challenge now would be physically where the learning is taking place, or where the learning physically where it's not taking place. And I think that's a challenge we would have and we'll have to look into. So let's quickly look at what Gavret said. It says it's not just the tool, but the educational rationale. It is the educational rationale that actually counts. And I would like us to interrogate this for just 1 minute, and I need somebody to just say, what do you have to say regarding what Gabriel said regarding this? He said, concerning remote learning, or also concerning technology-enhanced learning, that it's not just the tool, but the educational rationale is what counts. So I'll need a moderator to assist me with that in another 1 minute.
Sorry, sir, come again. I didn't get you, sir.
I just need somebody to make a comment about the quote from Gavret Salomon. He said, it's not just the tool, but the education rationale is what counts. And I just want to say, for those seeing the screen and for those that could hear me, is there any view regarding that statement?
Okay, so anyone with any ideas signify by answering the question. But if you can't speak, probably because you are not hearing clearly, you can state it in the chat section and I'll read it out. Anyone with any idea?
Well, my name is Dr. Ogunlela. Well, when we say a tool, that means it's something that can enable a process to actually take place and be achieved. For example, we can say internet is a tool for communication. Now, when we refer to rationale about education, that means what is the motive behind this process? What do we intend to achieve at the end of the day? Who and who do we intend to reach out to? And then what do we expect them to actually gain from that process? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doc. I see my senior colleagues are on the forum, which is fine. So one of the things that we need to understand is when we're looking at technology and remote learning, let us be careful of focusing on the technology and forgetting about the learning in itself, considering the fact that the learning is now remotely. And of course, there's no other time we can talk about this but from COVID-19. And almost everybody have to work remotely. And of course, almost everyone has got to learn remotely. But then what does learning comes to? So for those that can see the screen, one of the key things about remote learning is the fact that it actually links itself back to the concept of a large class where active teaching is involved. And that's where Onsby and Osman looks into that concept. And it's very important also in remote learning because there's an environment we need to work in. That environment is no longer the physical classroom. That environment is now a visual environment. We then need to look at how do we engage the student? How is the learning not impacted positively and not negatively? So we have the learning, we have the remote, then we have the in-situ. The first person that spoke this afternoon talked about the physical, and that's where learning needs to be in situ, that means situated. And it could be situated physically or it could be situated remotely. And it's very important for us to understand those concepts and that particular concept as it were. Okay, I've just got a warning of my battery, but I'll see how far I can quickly go. If I go out, I have to redo, get a new battery, and then I'll be back on. So one more thing about remote learning is what Khalifa said. And you can look at what is said by Khalifa in 1999, and also now in 2020 when we have COVID-19 and what Ramachandran have now said. They all talk about this technology, but they all also talk about, we must understand that we have a pedagogy from an education point of view. And whatever we talk about in remote learning, that is one thing we cannot look away from. So it doesn't matter what technology we're looking at, what technology we're thinking about, those are the things that are very important for us. And we need to also take into consideration that critical thinking is very important from an education point of view. Gone are the days where we just dump knowledge and then we use the funnel approach. No. So our remote learning must take into consideration that pupils are no longer silos that just get dumped in information, but they are part of the experience. They are part of the situation. So let's go back to the beginning. In 1956, Bloom, which is now what we talk about, Bloom taxonomy, came up with an hierarchical taxonomy that talks about the educational objective. Now, many years after, Adesemowo and the rest, they came up with a revised Bloom taxonomy, which focused more on the action point of view and dynamism, rather than just being static. Now, beyond that, many people have come up with other alternatives, so I will not be going into details in this instant. But churches, which I believe in New Zealand, in 2010, my apology for my slide, in 2010, actually then look into what is called the Bloom's digital taxonomy. And I believe that is very important when we talk of remote learning. Because in remote learning, there is a phenomenon that is called co-presence. And co-presence is something that has been way back from actually computer collaboratory or computer workspace environment, and that's been there for over many years, decades. I remember when I was doing my master's in the early 2000s, we were talking of co-presence. So it's nothing new, but it's the phenomena that's very important when we look at technology for remote learning. Considering also that the teaching and learning pedagogies from an education point of view are things we must look into and take consideration for. So the Bloom's digital taxonomy, it's still based itself more on what Bloom's have said, from remembering to creating, but it now looks at specific digital interventions that can be put in place. I know that screen is a bit busy, but looking at what, if you locate what Shashi's document, and if you do a search for the Bloom's digital taxonomy, we'll be able to see most of this digital technology we can look at. So what is important is, as we move away from Bloom, we actually entering back into Bloom's taxonomy, but this time around with a focus on digital taxonomy. From an academic or a research point of view, people have tried to look at how do we evaluate technology interventions that we put in place. And the work by Lai and Boa, which is actually published last year, I find it to be very interesting because they've looked at some of these things we talk about. Issues of digital instruction, using social media, mobile learning, and everything you can talk about. MOOC, LMS, visual learning environment, cloud learning environment, online learning, e-learning, and whatever we have to look at it, talk about, even virtual reality. What they've done is to come up, is to do a review of how had this thing been evaluated. And what they find out is that everything comes back to the pedagogy itself, to the education aspect of things in itself. So it comes back to the learning. It comes back to affective element, the sympathy.
Hello, Mr. Kayode, are you still there? I think Mr. Kayode has gone offline. So, Mrs. Olayinka, if you're around, Please, you can start while we wait for Mr. Kayode. Ms. Olayinka, are you there?
Hello, moderator. I think Mr. Kayode said his battery will be off and he'd like to change to another one. He said earlier
Okay.
that his
Let's,
battery is on, change to another one.
okay, thank you. I think we'll have our second speaker.
Around.
Okay, I think Mr. Kayode is back now.
The screen is showing now.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Kayode, we can all see your screen. Let's have you now, sir. Okay, everyone, let's exercise patience while Mr. Kayode sorts his technical issues out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, while Mr. Kayode sorts out his technical issues, let's have Ms. Olayinka continue. Because, well, we are short of time now. Okay, Mrs. Olayinka, let's have you.
Hello, good afternoon. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
All right. Apologies for the technical issues. So, like I was introducing myself before, my name is Olayinka Isimoya. I'm the head of the Proservices team at Bincom Dev Center. And the topic that we are analyzing today is the best use of technology in remote learning. And so basically what I have done is because of what I do, I try to make my presentation as relatable as possible so that everyone listening to me is able to understand what I'm trying to pass across. So before I dive in, I'd just like to know if everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll start from the rudiment of it, which is learning, because that's the basis of what we are talking about today. Here I have analyzed learning for us. Learning is the acquisition of knowledge or skills. And I've also mentioned the three ways by which learning can be undergone. It can be through study, which is personal study. It can be through garnering of experience. You learn over time based on things that you do from time to time. And it can also be by being taught, which is what most of us are used to, especially in the Nigerian context, where you go to the four walls of a physical learning location and you're taught topics and areas of interest and discipline. Now I'll move to remote learning. Before Mr. Kayode was cut off, was asking someone to define or describe what remote learning is. I've just put it in simple words here. So when you talk about remote learning, it's a situation where the students and the educator, that's the whoever is passing across the information, and not physically present in the brick and mortar traditional classroom environment. Okay. We do understand that because of the COVID-19 situation, we now have a new normal that involves a lot of absence of physical touch and physical gatherings. So remote learning has now become like a major player in learning and education as a whole. So information is usually relayed through technology. You know, we have
Mr. Olayinka, are you there? Sorry, everyone. I want to apologize for the technical issues. Um, let's just exercise patience while they work on their technical issues, please. Once again, my apologies.
Hello, can anyone hear me now? Apologies, I got cut off.
Yeah, we can hear you, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. All right. So I was going to introduce Bincom Dev Center and what it is about before then using it as a case study with regards to the topic that we are treating today. Okay. I'm sharing my screen now. I just want to confirm if you can see it. Please, can you confirm that?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We can see your screen and we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So Bincom Dev Center is a multi-location training and development hub, and also an incubation hub for technology resources. Okay, in simpler terms, I'm just talking about it being a development, a training, and incubation center for anything tech, anything that has to do with technology, basically. Okay, so what we do at Bincom Dev Center is that we provide a platform for tech enthusiasts to hone their skills and their abilities through intensive learning. You gain knowledge both by exposure, so by self-learning, by being taught, and also by hands-on experience in software solutions development. So basically, you're learning like you would do in the brick and mortar school. You're doing some self-study, some self-learning as well, and also you're also gaining experience while you're learning. So that is what the basis of Bincom Dev Center. And because of before the COVID situation, we had physical locations spread across Nigeria. But with the COVID situation now, we also have adopted remote learning. So I'm going to be sharing some of the best use of technology that we have adopted as a development center. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the learning management systems. The learning management system is an online software where you manage the learning processes of students or of users, basically. So everything from the curriculums, assignments, tests, and all of that are made easy on this platform. As a student, all you need is your login details. You can find your courses, your curriculum, what next you're supposed to learn. After learning, you take your assessments. Your facilitators, your mentors, your team leads also are able to score you and grade your progress. So you're not actually losing out of being in an actual, physical learning location where you can always meet your facilitators or your mentors and all of that. So the learning management system it organizes your learning pattern for you. So this is one of the technologies that we use at the Bincom Dev Center to make learning smooth, even as we learn remotely. So I have a screenshot of what the Bincom LMS, which is the learning management system, is. I have a screenshot of it. We can see course overview. We can see some of the activities that we do at the Bincom Dev Center, knowledge development, 20 hours. PMO is a learning track. So if you're on the project management team, you can go there and then you find the learning courses. On my left side, we have different icons. My courses, where all the courses that you have to learn or to aid learning for students are available at. We have KD, which is knowledge development topics and all of that. 20 hours is an alias that we use for personal development at the Bincom Dev Center. This also has the personal development topics that you can go through. All have been put in such a way that you learn, you take your test, so that your learning is actually tracked. So you know if you're growing. Your facilitators, your mentors as well are able to know that you are growing, which is not different from what is available when you are at a physical learning location. I'll move to the next technology. We have the video voice conferencing apps. There are different ones. Before I come and to talk about this, I'll just show you some images of the different the different voice and video conferencing apps, like you can see here. Okay, so to my left, I have a meeting room opened, which has project managers on it. So with this, you are able to hold your meetings. You are able to be in the same virtual space as everybody else who is learning with you. You are able to communicate with your facilitators, with your mentors, and everyone else who is pivotal to your learning process and development. Okay, so this is a Jitsi app opened. We have the other apps that are used in learning. Sorry, in video conferencing, in voice conferencing, there's the Zoom, there's the Google Meet, there's the Microsoft Teams, there's Skype. These are a few of the technologies that are used in place of assembling in a physical learning location. So at Bincom Dev Center, like I said, which is our case study, most times we do use the Jitsi Meet. And like I said before, it substitutes the four walls of a classroom without losing most of its essence, because many times the reason for physical classroom is to enable nonverbal communication and cues, which also would aid learning and understanding, which this app actually bridges. It enables you to hear the voices and see the faces of your facilitators, your mentors, and even your other learning mates as you are on your journey to to acquiring knowledge. It also allows for sharing of screen, just like I'm doing now. You would know that in a physical location, when there's a presentation, you would engage the use of projectors and all of that, so that you can everybody who's listening to you can also see what you are, the knowledge and the information that you're sharing with them. But with the use of sharing of screen on these apps, you are able to also meet that. So each student on their devices can see and follow what the instructor is saying and sharing, and then get better understanding of that. So I already ran through this different voice and video conferencing apps that we use in remote learning. I've mentioned the Google Meet, I've mentioned the Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams. Okay, and we do have the communication messaging app. For Bincom Dev Center, we use Slack as a major means of communication within the development center. With Slack, you are able to communicate. You are able to have different channels that suit different purposes. Okay, so for example, because we learn different programming languages here. For example, a trainee who is at the Bincom Dev Center who is learning mobile app doesn't have to necessarily have information from a trainee who is learning the Python app. So each of these learning paths have their own team platforms where information and knowledge that has to do or that are related with the specific learning track is shared without causing information overload or unnecessary information from any other person. There are also the general apps where everybody can be, the general channels I meant, where everybody can belong to. You know, you can share general messages that you want everybody within the development center to be able to have knowledge of. So with the use of Slack, the center is able to have different channels to address different communication needs without one interfering with the other. So this is one technology that has really helped in remote learning for us as Bincom Dev Center. So this is a screenshot of what the application looks like. To my left here, we have, you can see here, we have the marketing team. We have different channels that address the different teams within the development center. And okay, so when it comes to best use of technology, the use of technology, I'm just going to give us a brief rundown of what a day in Bincom Dev Center looks like, learning remotely, okay, using all these technologies that I have pointed out and stated. By 8 a.m., every one of the trainees come online via the video conferencing platform. We have GT, we have Zoom. This is to mimic coming to a physical learning location. So all you need to do is click on the platform that you're supposed to be and come on. Then you sign in digitally on your team's Slack channel. So each of the teams have different channels. You sign in digitally on that. That's done on Slack. After which you then observe your personal development via the Bincom Learning Management System, which is the LMS that I've spoken about. You take your tests, assignments where necessary. You move from topic to topic in an organized order as already configured on the learning management system. So that happens between 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. we have from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. we have the knowledge development session via the designated online platform, which is also the video and voice conferencing platform. Usually now we use the Jitsi, we use Zoom, any video conferencing platform as necessary, which would have been, communicated before. So just as we are having this session now, trainees share their screen, mentors share their screen, they pass on knowledge, they talk, they pass on knowledge, questions are asked, and all of that. Knowledge transfer, information transfer, and all of that happens on that platform within 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., there's continued learning through live projects, using various technologies. There's back and forth communication, exchanging of knowledge between mentors, team leads, trainings on the various video voice conferencing platforms. We have team meetings, code review sessions, and everything else that enhances learning on the various appropriate video voice conferencing platforms that have been stipulated for each. So this is how most of these technologies come into play in a typical day at the Bincom Dev Center, which runs from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. All these technologies that I have mentioned before, like you can see in this table, comes in to play to enhance remote learning without taking away the essence of learning as it would have been if trainees had the opportunity to come to a physical location. So as a trainee, all that is needed is your device, which is a laptop, a stable source of power supply, and reliable internet connection. That is all that, as a trainee at Bincom Dev Center, that is all that you need to be able to participate in learning remotely. Okay, so I'll just move to the advantages that remote learning has shown to us in the past months. So for remote learning, it removes the limitation that comes with a physical learning space, from trainings having to travel several miles to locations, to trainings having to forgo the opportunity of learning simply because the physical location where you're learning is in a different state, in a different country, is in a different city from where you are actually located. So remote learning bridges that barrier. So wherever you are all over the world, like I said, all you need is your device, your internet, power supply. You can connect and actually learn without losing out in any way as you would have gotten if you were coming to a physical location. The second one is that there's opportunity for dedicating more ample time to learning. So we do understand that time is very important. Some of this time that would have gone into travel time, that would have gone into planning your day and all of that. But because you are learning from whatever location that you are, you're learning from home, that time has been reduced. So time that ordinarily you would spend commuting yourself to a physical location, you can spend such time gainfully in actually gaining more knowledge and covering more areas that you're trying to learn over time. And last for me, for the advantages of remote learning is that it encourages self-study and personal research, because trainees are not in a physical space. You're not in a physical location, as it were, that you could easily just walk up to someone. You're actually spending more time on your device. You're spending more time on the internet. You're spending more time on, for example, the learning management system that has curriculums and all of that. So that could actually that could actually motivate trainees to do more personal research, to cover more grounds, to learn more, to learn quicker than they would have done if they were at a physical learning location. The limitations is just the Nigerian factor, which is the lack of stable power and internet infrastructure. So we understand in the context of the Bincom Dev Center, we are operational for now in Nigeria, and we do understand that power supply and internet infrastructure are things that are not exactly, stable, and for you to get the stable one is quite expensive and all of that. But that's the only limitation that I would see that would affect remote learning in this part of the world. But other than that, technology, which I have mentioned before, has actually made remote learning easier than we had initially thought that we would be able to adjust to. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. I don't know if there are any questions from any of our participants to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Olayinka, for that wonderful presentation. We're very grateful for gracing this occasion with your presence. Um, we before we had Mrs. Olayinka, we were having uh, the, our first speaker, Mr. Kayode Adesemowo. Along the line, we lost him, but not to worry. He is going to drop the link to his slide so that everyone could. I'll share it and everyone would have access to the slide. So this is the final and last part of this event, which is the slide we are going to be showing about Bincom Dev Center, and anchoring that is going to be one of the team leads from Bincom Dev Center, which is going to be Chisom. So Chisom, if you're there, let's have you now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. Can everyone who was sharing screen and stop so that okay, I'm trying to okay, coming up. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Hello? Okay, just a brief. I'll be talking on two things. I'll be talking about the Income Dev Center, just a brief, and I'll also be talking about our recent program at the Income Dev Center. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, loading now.
Um, hello, Chisom. Hello,
Okay,
Chisom.
I think Mr. Kayode is
Yeah.
available now. Can you kindly finish where my
Okay.
Yes, you're
all right,
available
Mr.
now.
Kayode is here. All right, sir.
Okay, Mr.
All right, you
Kayode.
can go ahead, Mr.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Kayode Adesemowo, let's have you now.
Um, okay. I apologize. I was just trying to see how to reconnect, and this is when technology fails by all means possible. All right. Just give me a moment. Let's come back online. Okay, may I proceed? I'm trying to share the screen. If the screen is showing, that should be fine.
We can see your screen clear, sir.
But even without that, we just have to proceed. Okay. All right, I believe I was talking about digital, the Bloom digital taxonomy. I think I need to just quickly do a recap with that while I proceed. So while I was talking, and then technology indeed failed us, or actually failed me. It's actually one of the things that when we look at what is in the Bloom's digital taxonomy, it's one of the issues that has been said that we should be careful about the use of technology. We must not forget about the learning in itself that we want to achieve. And of course, this is not only for education, but for every other things that we want to do. So I remember then I was looking at the evaluation. So if Lai and Bower were to have done an evaluation right now, probably they will have just said, currently, this is a complete failure. Apparently, that's what they would have said right now, in any case. But be it as it may, it's a good thing that they did that assessment on how to actually evaluate the technologies we use. Now, I know some might be asking, but what has this got to do with technology in remote learning? It's very important. It's not just knowing the educational background, the pedagogies, the teaching and learning pedagogies, but also reflecting. And for those that does UX, users experience, you will find out that users experience reload is not just about the screen. It's not just about your forms, okay? But it's also the experience of a user. Hence, why, from a research point of view, we have things that talks about terms, UTATs, and all those kind of things to evaluate, the technology that's been deployed. And this is what Lai and Bower actually went through in itself. So, with all of this background, let's quickly look in certain instances. Now, I will not go through the whole learning management system, LMS. Why the fight about which is the best LMS or which is not the best LMS, which is an LMS, which is not an LMS, whether Blackboard and Moodle separated or they do not separate, whether we talk about Canvas included, and even right now, people are already saying MS Team is a learning management system. I really won't look so much into that right now. What is important is to look at some of the technology that might be necessary for remote learning. And of course, one of them is the platform we're using right now, which is Jitsi. Now, it might interest you to know that there is a plugin for Jitsi in Moodle, and not so many people make use of it. The same thing for Zoom, which is what most people use. And it's interesting, not so many people people focus on Zoom and MS Team, forgetting that there's Jitsi, and I'm actually glad that Bincom is bringing Jitsi to the foreground. And apart from Jitsi having a plugin in Moodle, actually where you can, and if you understand how the Moodle works, it's actually, you can not only just as a plugin, you create an activity with it. And therefore, your actual session with the student is done all through Moodle as an activity. And that means you can do a number of activity completion, assessment, and a lot of other things. Now with Zoom, you also have a plugin also for Moodle, and the same thing with MS Team, the Microsoft MS Team. Now, one other thing about the Microsoft MS Team I must mention, which is outside Moodle now, but I quickly talk about it, is that MS Team is now coming up with the concept of what they call a MS Team display. They are dedicated standalone solution, trying to compete with the like of your Cisco, with your like of Polycom, but at the same time having integration with them. And these are because people might go and then one is dealing with an educational institution. They say, oh, no, we've invested so much in Polycom. And then one just say, no, we can get you through MS Team and integrate into your Moodle if you have one. Now, outside all this collaboration or and communication, as it were, then we then have what you call your Easy Java simulation. Now, in Moodle, when you do remote learning, let's take, for example, you have an electronic workbench. Now, an electronic workbench means that remotely, people can connect to that electric motor or to that oscilloscope or to whatever equipment that you have. Or it could also be a chemical lab, or it could be any other lab. But you can connect to it remotely. Now, through your modulators, now EJS is able to connect to those modulators, and you can carry out real-life, real-time experiment with your actual backend system, which is sitting in the lab. Or it could also work from a pure simulation point of view. So that's the beauty of EJS on its own. Now, EJS is also able to integrate with Moodle as a plugin, and that's very good. Now, when you leverage your LabVIEW, your MATLAB, your Simulink, and the rest of them, then you're able to bring much more learning remotely, especially leveraging on Moodle. Now, when we look at JIM, the Java Internet, the Java Internet MATLAB, it also allows you to then connect remotely. While still in Moodle, the student is still on the Moodle they're used to, but then they're able to connect right there the activity into other backend system. And it could be simulated or it could be real life equipment. So, and those are some of the things, some technologies we can we can look at. From an assessment point of view, we have the Save Exam browser, which I've used many times. It's free to use, even though not open source, but it's free to use. So it's the Save Exam browser. The competitor in quotes to Save Exam browser is Responders. Responders is not free, it's proprietary, and it's also, comes with a cost. But they have the lockdown browser, and at the same time, they have the monitor. I don't know if Dr. Rogundade is still online. I think she was on some time ago. If she is, I will quickly speak about one project they are working on, which is called the Secure Pro. It's a remote exam system that they are working on right there at FUNAB in Abeokuta. And in between those two, I quickly now bring to fore what we call UNISA, University of South Africa, which is very similar to the Nigerian Open University or the National Open University of Nigeria now. So both UNISA and National Open University of Nigeria have an online examination platform. I don't know exactly the backend technology they use, but between my understanding of Save Exam browser, with what I've seen with what FUNAB is doing, and with Responders also being being proprietary, one can start to look at remote learning even from an assessment point of view. You can have a remote pro-tutoring and the rest of them. And one thing we need to look at from an assessment point of view is that assessment should not just be assessing what people have memorized. No, gone are the days of memorization. It's actually what people can do. So you have your authentic assessment, but beyond your authentic assessment, then you talk of what Bold came up with the concept of what is sustainable assessment. It's an assessment that is focused on a learner beyond what they've learned in class, beyond the module or the course they've registered for, and beyond the degree they've obtained. And that is what sustainable assessment is all about. And that's very important from a remote learning point of view and from a digital economy and knowledge economy point of view. And of course, with all this talk about fourth industrial revolution and the rest of it, you want to assess the skill remotely, and it's very important. And one of the projects I've worked on it's from the Cisco point of view, leveraging on the Cisco Packet Tracer. But there are a lot of things we need to do. So what is important for me to pass across is to be able to say, look, when we're looking at assessment, let us not lose sight of what exactly we want to assess and not just bringing technology into the mix. There are other things we can also look into. I wouldn't know if I'm moving too fast, but I'm trying to quickly catch up. Now, there is a technology called the network device interface. I know I spoke about it briefly last year, and it has actually evolved. Now, right now, as I'm speaking to you, the screen I'm sharing with you is actually a different screen using NDI, which allows me to share now my OBS, the PowerPoint into OBS using NDI to a different screen and then sending that into Jitsi. So whatever I do on PowerPoint or whatever I do in OBS is independent of what goes into Jitsi. One thing you can think about is having a facilitator in one class, and the student, like they're doing in South Africa right now, is a situation where a class is split into two, and people come in one day and the other group the following day. But you can have a situation where a class then have the people split, and then they spread across the what we can call the campus or the school. And using NDI, which doesn't come with so much cost, all you need is just the network, of course, a gigabit network. We can actually engage, remembering co-presence, and we can engage, in real time, and those are some of the technologies to watch, to take a look at. The problem with NDI is once you start to move over the internet, whether you use VPN or not, you start to have a challenge. Hence now you then have the secure, reliable transport which work over UDP. The SRT has a lot of promise, and I know like a Bincom that have different campuses, different sites, Kano, Ibadan, Lagos, you can start leveraging on both NDI and SRT, and people can start to look into all these technologies as they were. Of course, from a sound point of view, then we have the Dante. The Dante allows you to bring in your audio without needing a audio jack. It's just on the network. You can route that audio from any point to another point. It doesn't matter what it is, and all you need is just your network interface. And it's the same way your NDI and SRT works. Of course, we have the sound grid. The sound grid works from a network point of view. It's not really peer-to-peer, but it's network, and it needs a network device or a network server. Dante is able to work without a network server. SMPTE has been for long, since 19 12 or there, 1916 thereabout, but they've also introduced an IP protocol that could work with SMTP. So with all of this said, I quickly flip back. I've looked briefly into some technologies in learning management system, and I focus on Moodle. And I needed to take note of the EJS because one can write a lot of solution. It's just pure Java. One can write solution around it. It's also now support with the EJS S. It can just do pure HTML5 without needing Java. And one can then program to read pure HTML, CSS, and there's so many things one can do with CSS and the rest of them nowadays. And then I spoke about assessment, what we focus on from assessment, and then into some other technology. And with those said, look, as we move and as we cycle along and looking at technology, let us not ride away from the actual learning that needs to be, people needs to learn from. The actual learning is very key, very important. And the skills that people actually are being trained on. It's one thing to just to go in and then learn your AWS platform, your Node.js and the rest, but we need to take into consideration and into cognizance what they need to be used for. It's not just the syntax, but what they need to be used for. So let us, as we go with the technology, do not ride away from the learning that we want to facilitate remotely. Very important for us. And with that, I think I will just end it there, and I'll be glad to take any question if there is any, or if there's any that you want me to, or if there's any clarity you want me to provide. And with those said, I once again apologize for the break in transmission. It's just a experience of how technology can fail us when we do not consider where we're coming from, what we need to focus on. So with that, moderator, thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kayode. Thank you for sharing wealth of knowledge with us. We really do appreciate it. Are there questions? Please, do we have questions? Anyone with questions, please do ask. Either to Mr. Kayode or Mrs. Olayinka. Any questions? Either to Mr. Kayode. Okay, while we wait for the questions, if you have your questions, you can just send it to the chat or just indicate and give an audience. But while we wait for questions, let me just quickly go through these slides. I need to talk about two things. Our Bincom Dev Center. So Bincom Dev Center is a multi-location based training and development center for technology resources. And what we do at Bincom Dev Center is significant to the topic of our event today, the best of technology in remote learning. And at Bincom Dev Center, we have what we call Bincom Academy, and this is an academy where students learn programming courses. We have the project management, graphics, and all. Students learn through Montessori approach. We have the Bincom Tech internship designed to enable people at intermediate skill level to gain mastery over a period of time. We have the Bincom Tech apprenticeship, an industrial attachment at various skill levels to gain experience while on the job, like you're learning and you're learning and you're working and also being mentored and all. Bincom community event, which is what we did today, is getting giving back to the community and the tech ecosystem. Our light space, our co-working space, which is available at our various locations: Yaba, Ibadan, Kano, Kaduna, Ijebu, and Delta, Warri. And it's just our co-working space is 8,000 naira per day, and you have access to internet and electricity for just 8,000 naira per day. That is very, very, yeah. These are some images of our MySpace and our trainings. We have the PHP classes, both the beginners and intermediate class, the Python class, both beginners and intermediate class, the mobile app class, project management class, foundation, which is web development. So even if you don't know anything about tech, foundation class, which is the web development, is like the peripheral. Start from there. The infrastructure class, the graphics class, digital marketing class. The flat rate for our class is 50,000 naira, but note that discount prices are available from time to time. I talked about this. We have some other events yet to come. We have the ICT Career Tour, Digital Marketing Meetup, Data Science, Laravel, and DevOps Meetup. Please let's try to register for this event. Okay, I quickly want to talk about our recent program. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, I'm trying to share. That's, okay. I think I was actually sharing my screen. Can everyone see my screen now? Can you all see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Please let's indicate if my screen can be seen. Hello? Hello, everyone.
We can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Okay, let me share. I'm trying to share my screen.
Hi, Chisom. We can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Trying to share my screen. Let me click again. Okay, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
No, not yet.
I need to know if you all can see my screen. Okay, if you can't see my screen, maybe I'll just talk about it. I prefer I share my screen, but you can send your questions, you can ask questions. I will. Okay, our recent program is the Bincom Global Tech Program. Okay, the Dev Center Global Tech Program is a solution to launch your tech career globally. And we all know that now what is in vogue now is technology is what is really in vogue. Um, after the since the pandemic and the stay-at-home thing, everyone is becoming tech inclined. People are learning skills, digital skills, and trying to equip themselves technically. Jobs are being transferred to remote working system and all. Income Dev Center is helping you start your career, even if you are learning from scratch. So the Bincom Dev Center Global Tech Program is a solution to launch your tech career globally. And this in this program, we get the clients, our clients get to learn the programming classes for free. When I was talking about the Bincom Dev Center services, I talked about um, different programming classes. I mentioned PHP, Python, and the rest. I mentioned project management, graphic design, and all. So this program, our clients or people who are keen into this program get access to learn all these classes. They get access to learn these skills, these programming skills and digital skills for they get to learn all depending on how they want to go about it, and they get to be mentored and get guidance. They learn data science, back end track, front end, mobile app, and all. So they are frequently asked questions. These questions are: is learning skill by yourself faster? Do you feel learning skill by yourself is faster? Bincom Dev Center Global Tech Program is your solution to launch your tech career globally. Why there is no alternative to hard work? Our network of mentors and facilitators will can hold you to achieve your goal just like a rocket ship. So at Bincom Dev Center, Bincom Global Tech Program, you get to learn our programming skills. You get access to every all the programming classes, but you have to be mentored on how to go about it, which one is more relevant at a particular time. You get to grow from maybe from the beginners class to the intermediate class to the advanced class, then another maybe you are learning front end, then from there you learn back end and all back end courses. So this program will give you access to all our all our courses. Is learning skill by yourself cheaper? Do you think it is cheaper to do it all by yourself? I don't think so. I think it's easier when you have mentors, when you have facilitators, when you are being taught in a learning environment, when you get to work on the job, even key into our apprenticeship, which I talked about when I was talking about the Bincom Dev Center service. I talked about Bincom apprenticeship program where you get to learn on the job. You are working with other team members, you are working with tech experts, and you are learning and you are working. So by then doing so, you are gaining more knowledge and experience. Do you need exposure? We solve the challenge of finding the right environment and exposure needed to innovate you and to finally so you can finally learn things you do not know. So this program is there to help you to enhance to make you exposed to digital skills, to make you exposed globally and other tech activities because you get to learn on the job. So I've talked about our key pillars, gain skills. So this program, keying into this program, you get to gain skills by doing so. How do you gain skills? Because you'll be taught by facilitators, instructors, you'll be mentored, and even with that, you have access to our co-working space, which I said you have access to free internet and also electricity. And this program will run between a year, 1 to 2 years. This program will run between 1 to 2 years, and this 1 to 2 years, you are getting all range of knowledge. You are getting all the knowledge that has to do with programming, coding, graphics, all round tech. You are being mentored, facilitators are there, you are being instructed, you are asking questions, you are getting it live, you are seeing it being done. You have access to co-working space even if you can't work from your home or you feel you can't learn from your home. Our co-working space are available at our various locations. I mentioned it earlier. We have at Kaduna, Kano, Ibadan, Lagos, Delta, and we have access to free internet and electricity. You are gaining experience for my tech apprenticeship. You can go into the tech internship and you are learning. You are building also to build your resume with client at every level. You get exposure, international career packaging and placement, guided access to international tech ecosystem. Now, important consideration. This program I said earlier is between 1 to 2 years, which is a highly intensive journey with 100% commitment to your growth. A passion for IT, though not compulsory, is an advantage. I said there are other things you can learn, like the project management, like the graphics design. If you feel you don't want to learn the coding and the programming part of it. If you are not sure if this is fit for you, why not reach out to us and have a reach out to us and let's talk about it, because Bincom Dev Center, this program is there to provide you with 100% advisory services. If you feel you don't know if you want to go into tech fully, or you feel you want to be advised, you need advice on how to go about your tech journey, how how to go about enhancing yourself tech wise, learning digital skills. You don't know which one to handle first, you don't know which one to go into first. You might need to speak to us, reach out to us, and let us guide you on that journey. So the program fee is 1.2 million naira, but there are different payment plans which are available. We have the income sharing agreement which is available. We have the residential program option. So that is all concerning our Bincom Global Tech Program. So I know that we might have questions concerning this recent program. So are there questions? Okay, are there questions? If you have questions concerning this, let's do well to reach out to us at Bincom Dev Center at bincom.net. Do well to send us a mail and we'll take it up from there. If you need tech advice, you need advisory, you need to consult, you need consultation on your tech journey, you don't know how to go about it, you want more clarification concerning our co-working space, or you want one, or you don't want all, you just want to key into one of the services in this tech program, do well to reach out to us. If you know someone who might need it, you know someone who want to get this tech experience and all, and who wants to work with, even go international tech wise, please do well to reach out to us on Bincom Dev Center at bincom.net. Do well to send us a mail. Thank you very much. Thank you to our speakers, Mr. Kayode and Yinka. We are very grateful to have you speak to us, share, allow us gain from your wide range of knowledge. Thank you very much. God bless you. And thank you to everyone for sticking around with us. We really do appreciate. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.